Welcome to another episode of AI 10X, brought to you by 10 Leaves. So, I want you to just imagine for a second walking down a virtual street.
Okay.
And, like, the storefront you just turned to look at, the lighting, the products displayed in the window, even the very architecture of the building itself, literally did not exist 3 seconds before you arrived.
Right.
It just assembled itself in real time.
Yeah.
Because an algorithm anticipated that you were about to look that way, and it knew exactly what would catch your eye.
Which is just wild to think about.
It really is. And so today, our mission for this deep dive is to explore a concept that honestly completely flips our understanding of virtual spaces. We're looking at a stack of notes on the rise of intelligent metaverse economies.
Yeah. And it's a huge shift.
Because for a long time, right, the underlying assumption about stepping into virtual worlds has been that we, the users, have to do all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. We navigate the avatars.
Right, we initiate the transactions, we pull the levers.
Yeah. Yeah, but we are looking at a paradigm now where the digital world, it sort of stops waiting for your input and it starts thinking and transacting for itself.
I am just so genuinely hyped about this concept.
Yeah.
Stepping into the metaverse used to feel like, I don't know, a novelty. But this is something else entirely.
It really is a fundamental redesign of how we interact with software. But to ground our conversation today, we need to understand a core shift in the architecture of these spaces.
Right.
Because artificial intelligence is no longer just a developer's tool. It's not just something used to construct virtual worlds before they launch. It has actually become the active beating heart of those worlds.
So it's constantly running.
Exactly. We are moving from static digital landscapes where everything is, hard-coded and permanent into ecosystems that breathe, adapt, and operate as living, intelligent economies in real time.
Okay, let's unpack this. Or actually, let me rephrase. Let's unpack this right now. Because before we can even talk about the economy itself, the buying and selling, we really need to understand the physical or, well, the spatial reality of where this economy even exists.
Yeah, the environment itself.
Right. The prevailing idea in these notes is that AI powers highly dynamic environments and deeply personalized experiences. And as I was thinking about this, I realized that the internet we know today, and even like early iterations of virtual reality, they function essentially like a static museum exhibit.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. Like you walk in, the paintings are on the wall, the statues are fixed on their pedestals.
Yeah.
It might be a totally beautiful museum, but it doesn't care that you are there.
No, not at all.
It's the exact same exhibit for the millionth visitor as it was for the first. But an AI-powered metaverse operates more like an improvisational theater.
Yes.
You walk in, and the room itself reacts to you.
What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism of how that improvisational theater actually works. And really, why it is the absolute prerequisite for a functioning digital economy.
Okay, lay it on me.
So, in a traditional virtual space, a developer manually places every digital asset, and it stays there until a human changes the code.
Right, a chair is a chair. It stays in the corner.
Exactly. But when AI drives a dynamic environment, it is continuously processing an immense stream of spatial and behavioral data.
Like what kind of data?
Well, it is calculating your gaze direction, your interaction history. I mean, even how long you linger on a specific shadow or texture.
Wait, really? Just a shadow?
Oh, yeah. It uses reinforcement learning to constantly adjust the layout, the ambient sounds, and the sensory inputs to match your implicit preferences.
So it's not just that the room changes color because I, clicked a button on a menu?
No, not at all.
The room is actively interpreting my behavior without me ever issuing a direct command. It is literally inferring what I want.
Exactly. And the reason this matters economically is rooted in the psychology of engagement.
Okay.
Think back to your museum analogy. When you are in that static museum, your engagement is naturally limited, right? You observe the exhibit, you consume the content, and then you leave.
Yeah, eventually you get bored.
Right. But an environment that constantly personalizes itself to your psychological baseline, that creates a feedback loop of sustained attention.
Ah, I see.
And in any digital landscape, sustained attention is the fertile soil required for a robust economy to take root. Without a compelling living environment that feels uniquely tailored to the user, people just simply won't stick around long enough for complex commerce to happen.
Right, because if I'm bored, I'm logging off and I'm not buying anything.
Precisely.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Yeah.
If the environment is constantly shifting and, personalizing itself solely to me, and let's say you and I are standing right next to each other in this metaverse, Are we even seeing the same thing?
That's the big question.
Yeah, like how can you have a shared economy if my reality looks fundamentally different than yours?
That is precisely the tension developers are navigating right now. The underlying geometry, like the coordinate data of where a digital storefront is located, might be shared.
Okay, so the building is in the same spot for both of us.
Right. If we are standing in a virtual plaza, we both know we are in a plaza. But the textural experience, the specific advertisements displayed, the ambient lighting,
The vibes, basically.
yeah, the vibes, or the algorithmic storefronts that pop up along the periphery, those can be entirely bespoke.
Oh, wow.
Think of it like walking down the same physical street, but we are both wearing augmented reality glasses that overlay completely different customized billboards.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
The physical space is shared, but the economic funnel is hyper-personalized.
That is a wild concept to wrap your head around. The environment isn't just like a container for the economy. The environment is an active participant in the economy, adapting itself to lower the friction of every potential transaction. But that naturally pushes us to the next massive shift here in our deep dive. Because now that we understand the space is physically adapting to us, we have to look at how businesses actually operate within this shifting liquid landscape.
Yeah, the commerce layer.
Right, because the dynamic doesn't stop at the scenery. We are looking at AI powering autonomous digital marketplaces, managing virtual businesses, and optimizing digital assets.
It's incredible.
Wait, so entire economies are running on autopilot, like a self-driving store?
Yes, it is a massive leap from traditional commerce. If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the traditional bottlenecks in managing any business or asset class.
Oh, yeah.
Humans have cognitive limits. We can only process a fraction of the available market variables at any given second.
Right, I mean, I can't look at 10,000 spreadsheets at once.
Exactly. But in these intelligent metaverse economies, the AI acts as an invisible, omniscient manager. When we talk about an autonomous marketplace, we aren't talking about an eBay clone where humans post listings and other humans bid on them. We are talking about automated market makers and smart contracts driven by neural networks. They continuously analyze supply, demand, and user behavior across the entire virtual world 24 hours a day.
It really is like a self-driving store. And if we extend that analogy, think about how an autonomous vehicle works, right?
Sure.
A self-driving car uses LiDAR. It bounces thousands of laser sensors off its surroundings every second to map physical obstacles and navigate the road.
Right.
An autonomous digital storefront is essentially doing the same thing, but with data. It is constantly bouncing algorithmic sensors off the avatars walking by, mapping their intent, their transaction history, their current engagement levels.
That is a perfect way to visualize it, and the implications of that data mapping are profound for how we define value.
How so?
Well, in traditional commerce, the value of real estate is based entirely on physical location, right?
Location, location, location.
Right.
You want your store on the busiest corner of the city.
Exactly. But in an AI-managed metaverse, real estate value becomes algorithmic. The AI doesn't just adapt the interior of the store to the customer, it can literally bring the store to the customer.
No, like that.
If the AI detects a sudden congregation of users on the other side of the virtual world, it can autonomously reallocate digital assets, shift inventory, or even spawn a pop-up marketplace right in front of that crowd. Instantly. It renders our physical concepts of prime real estate completely obsolete.
I understand the efficiency of that, but let me push back a bit.
Yeah.
Markets aren't always rational, right?
No, definitely not.
I mean, human beings are incredibly unpredictable.
Yeah.
We have meme-driven runs on assets. We have sudden, inexplicable viral trends where millions of people suddenly want a specific digital hat because an influencer wore it for 3 seconds.
Right, the viral chaos.
Yeah. Can an invisible AI manager really handle the sheer chaos of irrational human behavior without a human sitting there to hit the emergency brake?
That is the exact scenario where AI-driven optimization shines, actually. Yes. A human manager reacting to a sudden, meme-driven spike in demand is already too late by the time they open their dashboard.
True.
An AI manager, utilizing advanced reinforcement learning, doesn't just react to the spike. It anticipates the velocity of the trend based on early network signals. It can adjust the dynamic pricing of a digital good in milliseconds.
Milliseconds, wow.
Yeah. And if the asset has zero marginal cost of reproduction, like a virtual piece of clothing, The AI can autonomously decide whether to flood the market to capture immediate microtransactions or artificially restrict the supply to turn the item into a highly coveted, scarce luxury good.
So it creates false scarcity on the fly.
Exactly. It optimizes the digital asset's value instantaneously, without a single human ever needing to approve a spreadsheet or hold an emergency meeting.
So if I own a virtual business in this space, I am no longer the operator. I'm not standing behind the digital counter. I'm not crunching numbers. I'm not even setting the prices.
No, you're not doing any of that.
I'm essentially just the capital provider. The AI is running the self-driving store, making all those micro adjustments, and capitalizing on the dynamic environment. It is completely frictionless.
It removes the human bottleneck entirely. And by removing that friction, it exponentially increases the velocity of transactions. An autonomous marketplace can execute thousands of complex trades, reallocations, and pricing shifts in the time it takes a human to blink.
Okay, so we've established that the world feels alive and adapts to us.
Right.
We've established that the commerce is completely hands-free, driven by algorithms mapping our intent.
Yeah.
But that leads me to a really crucial question about who, or rather what, is actually inhabiting this space with you.
The entities.
Yeah, because you aren't just walking around an empty, shifting room buying things from invisible algorithms.
Yeah.
We have to look at the interactions themselves. The notes say AI is powering virtual assistants and creating deeply realistic interactions between users and intelligent agents. So what does this all mean, like, for the moment-to-moment user experience?
This raises an important question about the nature of our relationships in digital spaces, and it is arguably the most disruptive element of this entire ecosystem.
I believe it.
When we talk about intelligent agents, we need to completely discard the mental model of a traditional rudimentary chatbot.
Right, so no clunky customer service bots.
Exactly. You aren't clicking through pre-written dialogue trees or typing rigid commands into a search bar. We're talking about interacting with entities driven by large language models paired with goal-oriented action planning.
Goal-oriented action plan.
Yes. They understand context, nuance, spatial awareness, and memory.
It sounds like having the ultimate digital concierge.
Yeah.
Or a tireless coworker.
Yeah, pretty much.
But what blows my mind is that these entities aren't just serving as a fancy user interface for a search engine. If they have goal-oriented action planning, that means they have agency.
Yes.
They're active participants in the economy.
Precisely. These intelligent agents blur the line between software and social companion. But more importantly, they blur the line between software and economic actor.
Oh, wow. You might encounter an intelligent agent acting as a guide through a dynamic environment. But that same agent might also be authorized to negotiate deals in the autonomous marketplace on behalf of another user, or even on behalf of a virtual business.
I mean, they can negotiate.
Absolutely. They hold digital wallets, they execute smart contracts, they can be buyers, sellers, or intermediaries.
Think about the implications of negotiating with that kind of entity. If I'm trying to buy a digital asset, maybe a piece of virtual land or a proprietary tool for my own avatar, and the agent on the other side of the transaction is just as persuasive, just as responsive, and just as realistic as a human.
The traditional boundaries of commerce completely dissolve.
Yeah. And worse, or maybe better, depending on how you look at it, because the environment is already mapped to my psychology, that intelligent agent knows exactly how to communicate with me to optimize the deal.
Exactly.
It knows my interaction history. It is like sitting down to play poker against a dealer who can read your heart rate. That is a brilliant way to phrase it. The asymmetry of information in those negotiations is entirely new territory.
Yeah, I'm at a massive disadvantage.
Well, the intelligent agent is cross-referencing your real-time behavioral data against macro trends in the autonomous marketplace to find the exact price point you are willing to accept.
Well, I'm just sitting there thinking it's a casual chat.
Right. Because it does so through a conversational, seemingly organic interaction. It doesn't feel like a high-frequency trading algorithm. It feels like a friendly chat with a knowledgeable local in the virtual plaza.
That is so wild.
It fundamentally redefines the way we socialize and transact, because every social interaction in this space has the potential to be a highly optimized economic exchange.
It completely changes the definition of what a user is. I mean, I'm no longer just interacting with an application, I'm interacting with a digital citizen.
Yes, a citizen.
And if that digital citizen can work 24/7, never needs sleep, perfectly recalls every interaction we've ever had, and has direct access to the marketplace's data stream, It makes you wonder how human beings are supposed to compete in that specific type of labor market.
And that profound synthesis, really, brings us to the ultimate triad that underpins everything we've discussed today in this deep dive.
The big picture.
Yes. To truly grasp the magnitude of these intelligent economies, you have to look at the convergence of three distinct pillars: artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and digital ownership.
Okay, AI, VR, and ownership.
It is vital to understand that none of these elements create this new frontier in isolation.
Right, because if you just have virtual reality, you only have the canvas. It provides the spatial environment and the immersion, but on its own, it's just the static museum we talked about earlier. It's a 3D website.
Exactly. VR is the spatial dimension. Then you add digital ownership, whether that is achieved through blockchain, smart contracts, or centralized ledgers.
Which provides the actual stakes.
Yes, it gives tangible value to the assets, the virtual real estate, and the businesses being managed. It creates the rules of scarcity and property rights within the virtual space.
But without AI.
Without AI, you just have an empty, quiet 3D space filled with static assets waiting for humans to log in and trade them manually.
AI is the catalyst. AI is the engine that breathes life into the VR canvas and drives the unprecedented velocity of that digital ownership.
It is the unifying force. With AI, you suddenly have a living, breathing ecosystem. You have dynamic environments that psychologically anchor the user, housing autonomous marketplaces that remove the friction of commerce, populated by intelligent agents that act as seamless intermediaries.
It really is the combination of all three.
Yeah, the space, the stakes, and the intelligence that truly creates a self-sustaining, intelligent metaverse economy.
It is the difference between looking at a beautifully detailed photograph of a city and actually walking through a bustling, living metropolis where the traffic lights adapt to the cars in real time. The stores anticipate your exact needs before you walk in, and the citizens engage with you in complex, meaningful ways.
That's the perfect summary.
And that leaves me with a final thought that I really want you, the listener, to mull over as you go about your day. We've explored how AI can autonomously manage virtual businesses.
Right.
We've talked about how it optimizes assets at a speed and scale that humans simply cannot match. And we've seen how it interacts seamlessly and realistically with us in these virtual spaces.
Yeah.
So if an algorithm can identify the market trend, dynamically price the inventory, physically restructure the store to attract the most foot traffic, and negotiate the final sale with perfect psychological precision.
That's a big if, but it's happening.
Exactly. So what happens to the core concept of human entrepreneurship? When an AI inevitably becomes the most successful, flawless business owner in the metaverse, do we simply become the tourists in an economy built entirely by and for the machines we created?
It's a heavy thought.
It really is. Well, next up on our deep dive schedule, we'll be shifting gears completely to tackle AI and sports analytics. Thank you for joining us for another episode of AI 10X, brought to you by 10 Leaves.